I've known our Darshanit for many years, and I've gotten to see her in many roles as a parent, spouse, friend, congregant, chairperson, active volunteer. And in all of these different roles, what I've noticed about Marlene is that she has about her a quiet strength, a sweet determination, tremendous commitment to the people and to the things that are important to her, and insight and passion as well. And it is a pleasure to be able to share the bima with her this morning so she may share some of those qualities with us as well.
Shabbat Shalom. Before I begin my remarks, I would like to congratulate Leah on a job well done, and I would like to extend Mazal Tov to the entire Jaffe family. If anyone here has gone through the checkout line in a grocery store lately, you may have noticed on the tabloids that Lindsay Lohan has been released from prison and rehab. Her jail sentence was 90 days, of which she served 13. The punishment arose from multiple violations of the terms of her probation for drunk driving. She had been given repeated warnings that her probation would be revoked if she failed to attend her court-ordered rehab. Lindsay finally suffered the consequences of her actions and was sent to jail and then to rehab. This week's Parsha, Ki Tavo, speaks to the heart of actions and their consequences. Our story begins 40 years after Moses led the Jews out of Egypt. They had wandered through the desert and now have finally arrived and are about to enter the promised land. The Parsha opens with Moses mid-discourse to the people who are waiting at the threshold of Israel. They learn that in their new land, God will expect more of them as their status is changing from wandering nomads to a settled people. Moses reminds the Israelites of all that will be expected of them in their new home. Like a parent or a teacher, Moses can only hope that his instructions will be taken to heart. He can't live their lives for them. Now is the time for the Israelites to go out and be responsible for their own actions. After instructing the people on ritual thanksgiving and tithing, and giving specifications for building an altar, leaders of the tribes are then charged with standing on different mountain tops while the Levites shout out a relatively short series of curses for people who disobey the laws. These curses are directed at people who do things like make idols, disrespect their parents, and misdirect the blind. Moses goes on to say, however, that the people will be blessed if they obey all God's commandments. Unlike the curses, the blessings don't relate to specific good deeds, but rather they relate to general good behavior, complying with God's commandments. Following Moses' telling of the blessings or rewards that will come to Israel if the people behave, Moses then reveals in vivid detail what will happen if the people do not follow all God's commandments and laws. 7 full pages in your Etz Chaim Chumash are filled with descriptions of the horrifying consequences of disobedience. That is to say, the specific afflictions that would befall the Israelites for failing to obey all of the commandments. This very lengthy portion is called the Tochacha, or rebuke. After the rebuke, Moses ends on a positive note. He reminds the people of the miracle of their survival after 40 years in the desert with no food or drink and the defeat of their enemies in Moab. When I told my brother-in-law, Rabbi Diamond, that I wanted to speak about curses in this morning's drash, he asked me whether I was for or against. He will get his answer in a few minutes. One of the problems with the text is that most of the rules are specific to individual behavior, but many of the punishments are collective. For example, we are told that if we do not obey all of God's commandments, the Lord will drive you and the king you have set over you to a nation unknown to you or your fathers, where you shall serve other gods of wood and stone. The punishments also are personal. Moses says, "You shall be in terror night and day, with no assurance of survival. In the morning you shall say, 'If only it were evening,' and in the evening you shall say, 'If only it were morning.'" These types of punishments seem excessively harsh. The idea of collective punishment seems unjust in modern times, and the physical and mental punishments to be inflicted on individual Israelites seem more like torture than simply a punishment we would expect today. What would we have made of this if we had been standing at the border of the Holy Land listening to Moses? Would we have taken the curses literally? Would we have thought that if, in fact, we misdirected a blind, for example, we would wake up in the morning and wish it was evening? I don't know. Maybe. In the Bible, punishment tends to come after fair warning as to both the transgression and the consequences. And the consequences tend to be